As global energy markets remain volatile and geopolitical tensions continue to ripple across regions, the Philippines is once again weighing a delicate and consequential decision whether to reopen discussions with China on joint oil and gas exploration in contested waters. The issue has resurfaced amid mounting concerns over energy security, rising fuel prices, and the broader implications of international conflicts, particularly in the Middle East. With supply chains under strain and nations reassessing their energy strategies, the Philippine government is exploring every possible avenue to secure stable and sustainable energy sources. At the center of this renewed debate is the question of whether cooperation with China, despite long-standing territorial disputes, can be pursued without undermining national sovereignty. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has signaled openness to revisiting negotiations with Beijing. While acknowledging the complexity of the issue, he has suggested that evolving global conditions may create an opportunity for both sides to reconsider past positions and seek common ground. At present, no formal agreement is in place. Government officials have clarified that joint exploration activities have not resumed, although discussions remain a possibility in the near future. The sensitivity of the matter, however, cannot be overstated. The waters in question, often referred to as the West Philippine Sea, are part of a broader maritime region that has been the subject of competing claims for decades. A landmark arbitral ruling in 2016 invalidated China's sweeping claims over much of the South China Sea, but tensions persist, and Beijing has not recognized the decision. Against this backdrop, any move toward cooperation must navigate not only diplomatic realities, but also constitutional constraints. Philippine law mandates that the country must retain full control and supervision over its natural resources, a principle that has historically complicated joint development proposals. It is within this context that Sherwin Gatchalian has voiced cautious openness to renewed talks while drawing a firm line on the issue of sovereignty. Speaking on the matter, he emphasized that economic considerations, no matter how pressing, must never override the country's territorial rights. Hindi natin pwede isa alang-alang yung sovereignty and sovereign rights natin sa pag-uusap, he said. The senator acknowledged that exploring energy partnerships could offer practical benefits, particularly as the Philippines seeks to reduce its reliance on imported fuel. With domestic energy reserves underdeveloped and global prices fluctuating, tapping into potential resources in disputed areas could provide a significant boost to the nation's energy independence. At the same time, he made it clear that any agreement must be carefully structured to ensure that it does not compromise the country's legal standing or territorial claims. Pero pwedeng mag-explore kung paano tayo mag-move forward using commercial arrangements, he added. This distinction between economic cooperation and sovereign concession lies at the heart of the ongoing debate. Proponents of renewed talks argue that joint exploration could be framed purely as a commercial arrangement, allowing both sides to benefit from shared resources without addressing the underlying territorial dispute. Such an approach, they suggest, could serve as a pragmatic workaround in a situation where political solutions remain elusive. Critics, however, warn that even indirect cooperation could be interpreted as a weakening of the Philippines' claims, particularly if not clearly defined within constitutional and legal parameters. For Gatchalian, the key is clarity and firmness in the government's position. Dapat maging firm din tayo na kung matutuloy man ito, hindi ibig sabihin na sinusurrender natin ang ating sovereignty at sovereign rights, he stressed. The senator also pointed to a broader trust issue between the two countries, a factor that continues to influence public perception and policy decisions. While China possesses the technological capabilities needed for deep-sea exploration, concerns about transparency, accountability, and long-term implications remain. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits of cooperation cannot be ignored. The Philippines is currently facing increasing pressure to secure its energy future. With domestic production limited and demand steadily rising, the country remains heavily dependent on imported fuel. This reliance leaves it vulnerable to external shocks, such as geopolitical conflicts and fluctuations in global oil prices. Recent developments in the Middle East have further underscored the urgency of the situation. As tensions escalate and supply routes face disruption, countries around the world are scrambling to diversify their energy sources and reduce exposure to volatile markets. For the Philippines, this has meant exploring alternative suppliers, building buffer stockpiles, and considering unconventional partnerships. In this context, the prospect of accessing untapped oil and gas reserves closer to home becomes increasingly attractive. However, the path forward is far from straightforward. Past attempts at joint exploration have faltered due to legal and political hurdles. A previous tripartite agreement involving China, the Philippines, and Vietnam was eventually struck down for violating constitutional provisions on foreign participation in resource exploration. This precedent serves as a reminder that any new agreement must withstand not only diplomatic scrutiny, but also legal challenges. Government officials have indicated that future discussions will be guided by strict adherence to the Constitution and national interest. Any framework for cooperation would need to ensure that the Philippines retains full control over its resources while clearly delineating the roles and responsibilities of all parties involved. The stakes are high. Beyond the immediate question of energy security, the issue touches on broader themes of national identity, sovereignty, and the country's position in the international community. For many Filipinos, the West Philippine Sea is more than just a resource-rich area. It is a symbol of national pride and territorial integrity. Any perceived concession, however minor, is likely to be met with strong public reaction. This places policymakers in a delicate position. On one hand, there is a pressing need to address the country's energy challenges and ensure long-term sustainability. On the other, there is an equally important obligation to uphold national sovereignty and protect territorial rights. Balancing these priorities requires careful negotiation, clear communication, and unwavering commitment to the country's core principles. As discussions continue, the Philippine government is expected to engage in extensive consultations with legal experts, industry stakeholders, and international partners. Transparency will be crucial in building public trust and ensuring that any agreement is both legally sound and politically acceptable. For now, the possibility of joint oil and gas exploration remains just that, a possibility. But as global dynamics shift and energy concerns intensify, the pressure to find viable solutions is unlikely to ease. In the end, the success of any initiative will depend on the Philippines' ability to navigate complex geopolitical realities while staying true to its fundamental values. As Senator Gatchalian has repeatedly emphasized, the bottom line is clear. Economic opportunity must never come at the expense of sovereignty. And in a region where every move is closely watched and deeply consequential, that principle may prove to be the most important guide of all.